Okay, everybody, I'd like to welcome you to our meeting and go ahead and start here. So my name is Ann Thomas, and I'm the president of the Hearing Loss Association of America. Thank you. Does that work? So I love an ear set microphone because then I can use my hands. And we bought a brand new one just for us to use for our meeting. And I had everything here when I was parking in the parking lot out in front here, and I put it in a special place so I wouldn't forget it. And I left it at home. Okay, so what I'm hearing you say is that this microphone doesn't work well enough. Okay. So now it works? Does it work now? Oh, well, okay, so I'll hold it and we'll see what happens. So I'm Ann Thomas and I'm the president of our chapter. And before we start, I want everybody to know that Rossmoor has the largest number of assistive listening systems anywhere in our county. We have a list up here of the locations in Rossmoor that has them. And they are absolutely the gold standard for those of us with hearing loss. In order to be able to easily use it, you need to have a telecoil in your hearing instrument. So if you know that you have a telecoil in your hearing instrument, go ahead and put your instrument, and I use the word instrument because it's inclusive of hearing aids, cochlear implants, and bone conduction devices, and all of them can have telecoils. So I don't want to just use the term hearing aid because there are people who have other devices as well. So I use the term hearing instruments. So go ahead and put your hearing instrument in telecoil. And what will happen to you is the sound will be like in the middle of your head. And if you look at I have a slide for this, but since we're starting, if you look at your app for your hearing instrument on your smartphone, you can adjust the balance of external microphone to telecoil. Now, some people who I've known for a long time prefer almost all telecoil. So it's up to you to slide that slider back and forth until you get what you want. Now, we generally bring receivers, but we're having a problem with our receivers and probably will have to replace them. Now, Rossmoor, for those of you who live in Rossmoor, provides receivers for residents. And in the past, what they've done is they let you take them for you sign them out, and they let you take them for 3 or 4 months because they don't want to be at every meeting, every event to distribute them. So our understanding is the place you pick those up is in Custodial in Fire. What's the name of that building?
It's not in Fireside.
Well, it's the Rossmoor offices to the left of Fireside. Okay? Does anybody have any questions? Perfect. So what we're going to be talking about today, our hearing loss 101 last time was about how to use the app for your hearing instrument. It's my personal belief that if you don't know how to use the app for your hearing instrument, you will never be able to benefit from all of the features that you have that are available to you with whatever instrument you have. We found that there are many people who didn't even really know they had an app. What's more, the other programs that were on the app. So I'm hoping last time really helped you with that because that's what we focused on. This time, we're going to focus on the accessory items that come with your hearing instrument. You all know that I make house calls to help people with their technology. I cannot begin to tell you how many people I have visited. They have all these accessories and some of them never even took them out of the box. And so Those accessories were created to be able to help you live your best life with hearing loss. So we're going to be talking about that. Then we're going to discuss what did you learn in 101? What did you try, maybe successfully or unsuccessfully? And we're going to have a discussion about that. We'd like to remind all of you that we are, even though our meetings are open to the public and free to everybody, we are a membership.
Is blocking the.
Oh, again. Hang on a minute. Thanks, O'Hare. That we are a membership organization, and we hope that you think that the service that all of us who are volunteers are providing to you and to the community, and either you'd like to become a member or make a donation. We're happy if you do either one, but we're just reminding you about that. And how you can do it, something that's very easy, is just go to our website, and there is a link on the website. You can see there where it says membership, just click on that. And I'm very happy and pleased to share with you that in the past year, we found a service that allows us to take credit cards without a fee. So sometimes when people would make donations to us, they wouldn't do it online because they knew that there was always a fee that we would have to pay. And that's not the case with us at this time. So feel free to use the convenience of using your credit card, and you don't have to worry about having any amount that you're giving to us be deducted in fees. And if you would still like to mail it to us, there's an option in that window there that says membership with our address on it. To have a sense of who's in the room here and also on Zoom and what things might be important to you, I have some questions to ask you. So people in the room, please just raise your hand. People who are on Zoom, could you please use the raised hand feature in Zoom so we can, so Alan Katsura, who's monitoring Zoom, can see who that is. So our first question is, do you have hearing instrument accessories? Okay, so we have maybe 5 people out of how many do we have today? Oh, we have probably 30 some people. And 5 people say they have accessories. I'm wondering if the rest of you have accessories and you don't know it. So, of those of you who know you have accessories, do you use them? Raise your hand if you use them.
You didn't catch me.
Okay, so I forgot to say something. Every person who speaks has to speak through the microphone. If you don't, no, it's okay, you didn't know. If you don't speak through the microphone, it doesn't go through the assistive listening system, and everybody benefits from amplification. So a woman who was in the room here said, just raise your hand if I got it right, says that I have accessories, I use some of them sometime. Is that correct? Okay, thank you.
I used them till I'm technologically checked.
No, you have to wait.
Hi, what do you mean by an accessory?
So there are remote microphones, there are TV connects, there are different accessory items that are available for all modern hearing aids today. Jim, this woman right here in the front is raising her hand.
Here.
I use them until I become technologically challenged. I am not fast. I'm slow. I pick with one finger. I'm slow. I pick with one finger. By the time I'm done, they've gone on to something else. And I am also visually challenged. And I'm sure there's many here who are both.
Okay, so hopefully we'll be able to help you with some of these issues. So what this whole topic is called hearing assistive technology. And if you use the hearing assistive technology that's available with your hearing instrument, your life is going to be better. So if you think of all of the situations that you may be in, so one of the things is that the portable remote microphones, if you're having trouble understanding somebody, you can give them the microphone. And as long as they have the microphone within the appropriate range, it should amplify the sound and stream it directly to your hearing instrument.
I have a question. I would like to get one of those microphones that you put on the table. My husband has almost no hearing. Just if I could put it on the table so he could hear me and I could hear him. How do you go about getting one of those?
You talk to your hearing healthcare provider and ask him about the accessories that are available for his hearing instrument. Okay. Okay. So I would like to have, unless it's something really urgent, people hold questions until the end. Otherwise, we'll never get done. So these accessory items frequently have an additional app for them. So Phonak hearing instruments have this whole huge system called Roger, and they have an additional app for the Roger items so that you can make other changes in there to be able to expand your experience. So if you happen to have some accessory and you're having a problem using it, you need to come back to us and tell us, or go to your audiologist, or ideally look online, because all of the hearing aid manufacturers have the most wonderful videos to teach you how to use everything. So this is an example of what a remote microphone might look like. The one to the left is a Roger On. I think the middle one is a mini mic, which is from Resound and Cochlear Americas. And the next one, the other two, I can't remember off the top of my head. So they can look somewhat different between companies, and they can work differently. So the one that is the second one from the left does not have the capability of doing what we were talking about right here. It's just a microphone for one-to-one with one microphone. Some of the other ones, like the one all the way to the left and all the way to the right, both of those have the ability to be able to connect, to have more than one microphone and connect in different places in the space. So how might you use a remote microphone? So after I go through these, I'm going to have our vice president talk about how a remote microphone helped him in his life, him and his wife, Connie. So you might use it going on a walk with a partner. You know, most of our hearing aids have forward-facing microphones. So if you're looking forward and somebody's standing next to you and you're walking along, the chances are really good that you're not going to understand them very well. You can't augment what they're saying by lip reading. It's really hard to walk forward and look to the left or to the right, right? You might have a ritual with your partner that you like to clean up the kitchen after dinner. Could be washing the dishes, loading the dishwasher, unloading the dishwasher. Sometimes that can be kind of intimate sharing time within a family. If you didn't ask for communication access, which your doctor and dentist and healthcare is required to give you, or you're embarrassed to do that, and you're working toward doing that, you might choose to take your mini microphone with you to your doctor's or dentist's appointment. In the car, you could give somebody in the back seat your mini microphone, or with your computer or laptop or tablet. So here you want to tell your story about when you got your mini microphone and how you and Connie use it. And
Yeah.
I know he really loves it, so it's going to be a good story.
What is that I hear on the background? No?
Okay. Hi. So this is called partner mic and it works with Phonak hearing aids. And what in the evening, when my wife and I are together, but she's either cooking or I'm washing the dishes, she puts this on and everything comes directly to my ear. Prior to this, if she was speaking with her back turns towards me, I'd have to go all the way in front of her or ask her to come in front of me. This has resolved a lot of friction between us in the evenings.
Does she have to, you both have to wear a microphone, no?
Just her or your partner. That's all.
Connie doesn't have hearing loss.
How far does that cover? Could you be in the bedroom?
No, so if it's in a different room, it's difficult. If it's in an adjacent room, you can probably get it, but not too far.
So, in piggybacking onto your comment, it depends on which. I turned it off. Sorry, I turned it off when Zohair was here, so we didn't get feedback. So, different microphones have different capabilities. This partner mic happens to be one of the simplest devices that Phonak has. Phonak has levels of microphones that they sell. So some of them have a longer range. Okay. So I remember at our picnic last summer, or I think it was last summer, it could have even been the summer before. And Zohair had just gotten his partner mic and they were talking about it and they didn't realize it had, and I'm mentioning this because they didn't realize it. All of you might not realize it too. He didn't realize it had this piece, this necklace to be able to have Connie hang it around her neck. And so what happens when you use this, the microphone is closer to the person's mouth, so it works better. And it turned out when we were at the picnic that I happened to have one in my purse. So I just pulled it out and I said, oh, it just attaches like this. And then they went home and started using theirs.
So just one thing is you should ask your audiologist or provider to, because at least for Phonak, I believe you cannot order it online. And I just want to give a shout out to my audiologist who gave me this, Eric Breitling, who's sitting in the back.
Thanks. And we're going to take questions at the end. Okay. And I'd like all of you to know that I met Eric Breitling at an outreach event, I'll bet 15 years ago now. And at that time, I don't know whether he was familiar with the Hearing Loss Association of America or not, but he immediately became a member of our chapter. And until they had their daughter during the pandemic, he attended all of our meetings. And the reason for that was he wanted to hear what everybody said when they weren't in his office, because we say different things, and he thought it could make him a better provider. So thanks, Eric. So here's an example of this happens to be a Starkey remote microphone. And I had a communication with somebody yesterday who has a friend who has Parkinson's and their voice has gotten very low. And so my friend cannot understand them. So they were inquiring about what they could use. And they had tried using this microphone before, but they put it in the middle of the table and wasn't really aware that you could put it on a lanyard like we were talking about here with Zohair's. So this is another picture. See the device, this one's rectangular and the device in this picture is round, and you can see the string going around the person's neck. So on this particular slide, they say that for this device, they recommend that it's within 8 inches of the speaker's mouth. Okay, so our friend, our chapter member is going to try this the next time when she sees her friend. And so then we'll know more about how that might work, because her friend isn't the only person who's going to have Parkinson's. It's not the only person that we're going to run into that we may need to do this with. This particular device, I absolutely, totally, completely adore. So for those of you who haven't been coming to our meetings and are new, I have 2 very successful cochlear implants, which I got during the pandemic. To my complete amazement, we turned the volume of our TV down from like 50 to like 25 or something like that after I got my implants. And I can understand the TV, but I have to work a little bit. And by connecting the TV Connect, oh my gosh, it's just a breeze. And I absolutely understand every single word. Now, some of the accessory items that are available to us can be expensive, really expensive. The Roger system is very expensive. This microphone that Zohair has, that's not a really expensive one. It's a very simple one from Phonak. The TV Connect systems are not particularly expensive. I know that quite a few of you in this room go to Costco. And I know that some of the accessory items are bundled with Costco devices. You could also get one on eBay. So don't not get something that's inexpensive. Or we could, if there was somebody who thought, ask your audiologist if you could borrow one first. If that wasn't available, come back to us. Maybe we have one in the demo library that we have. Maybe somebody has one that they would loan you so that you could see what that's like. But I absolutely adore mine. You can also connect the TV Connect to your computer, laptop, or tablet. Now you may be wondering, why would I want to do that? My hearing aids are Bluetooth. I can just connect my hearing aids directly to the device. Those of you who know me know I'm really tech savvy and I have very dexterous hands and really quick learner. And the problem with our Bluetooth is that you can only be connected to one device at a time. So what happens is if you move to something else, you just go click it. You have to go into your Bluetooth settings for Phonak or Advanced Bionics and change what location is connected, what device is connected to the Bluetooth. Well, that's really problematic for me because what happens with my hearing, if there's some time that's problematic and something's not working, I can feel my anxiety start to rise up. And we all know the more anxiety we have, the less well we function. So you could have this little device, this connected, oh, I didn't bring mine. Mine's only about this big. You could have it connected to your computer and you never have to worry about the Bluetooth because most of these function on something else. It's a really simple way to avoid that. Some additional hearing assistive technology that can be really beneficial to everybody. And I'm including these pieces in here because last time we had a lot of new people to our meeting and I see a lot of new people today. There are captioned landline phones. And these landline phones with the captions have improved exponentially from when we first got them. So up here we have in our literature display here, and I'm moving away. People at Zoom can't see me. The company right here, this is the example of what the telephone looks like. And this one is Caption Call. There are 3 companies, Caption Call, Clear Captions, and Hamilton. And you could get this phone for free. This particular company will come to your house and install it for you. super accurate, big screen. You can even go in and adjust the audio amplification in the settings and increase it if you want to in certain frequencies. I highly recommend it. The next hearing assistive technology everybody needs is captions on your cell phone. So at one time, the cell phones didn't have built-in captions, and people were using third-party systems. And I still like one of them very much, and it's called Ava, and it's the most robust of all of the speech-to-text apps. But there is an app called Live Transcribe built into all Android phones that is one-to-one that works great. In Apple products, it's called Live Caption. I happen to have all Apple products, and the live caption window just floats on top of every single thing. You just press a button, you just press it and it opens up. You can make it bigger, smaller. So if there's somebody who doesn't have it on their phone and they're not able to do it right now, if you wait till after the meeting, we'll make sure you're connected. Another device are doorbells. Doorbells can be really hard to hear. There are, and I have something on smoke and carbon monoxide here as well. So there are hubs that then have accessory items. You could have an accessory item for the hub that connected to a lamp, and the lamp would flash when somebody rang the doorbell. I have another device that has their like round pucks, and the doorbell that's outside that you can get as many pucks as you want and you can carry them around with you. So I know that FedEx in my neighborhood, they say they ring the bell, but I don't believe them. So whenever I know FedEx is coming, because I have a hard doorbell to press, sometimes people press it, but it's not hard enough. I set that up and take it with me, and I'm going to put this microphone down for a minute. They're about this size. So maybe 8 inches in diameter. You can even set them up to flash different colors for different locations. They're just wonderful helpers for us. And then the piece for all of our safety that everybody, most everybody, is really remiss in taking care of themselves, and that's safety with smoke and carbon monoxide. And there are special detectors for us that either vibrate at a low frequency, flash, you can have a bed shaker with it, definitely things that you would be able to be awakened in this emergency situation. Now, I know, because I couldn't believe that this could ever happen to me, was that sound of the smoke and carbon monoxide detector is so loud, so shrill. It's hard to imagine that you would not be awakened with that. The problem is that for most people with hearing loss, the place you lose your hearing is the high frequencies, and that's where that sound is. And so the rule of thumb is you have 3 minutes to get out of your house. So if you have problematic hearing, you have a good ear or a bad ear, and you're laying on which ear or the other ear, you have the pillow over your head, the chances are you won't get out. So there is safety equipment. We happen to be very fortunate in California to have a telephone access program, and they provide amplified telephones. They also provide caption telephones, but at this point in time, the caption telephones that they provide are not digital. And the companies make digital ones and they will give it to you for free. So I don't recommend that you get your captioned phone from California Connect, but directly from one of these companies. But they offer something else, which is you're allowed to have one accessory item of each type. And one of the accessory items that they offer are the hubs for all of the alerting systems. So the top one there is called Sonic Alert, and I have that one. The one at the bottom is a new product for California Connect. I think that they just got Bellman and Symphone maybe like a year ago. And the hub for Bellman and Symphone is that tall piece that you see in the middle. And I happen to love the Bellman and Symphone products because they're so contemporary and modern. So the Sonic Alert is a little bit clunky looking, right? So you get to pick whichever hub you want, but the accessory item for the smoke and carbon monoxide, you have to order that yourself and you just connect it to that. I think that the accessory item that I got for my Sonic Alert was $99. So certainly affordable for your own safety. I'm also letting everybody know that there are informational sources on the internet to help you become informed about hearing aids. One of the most highly respected is Hearing Tracker. And another person that many people like is Dr. Cliff. So those two are really important things that people need to know about. And they review everything, in-depth reviews. My friend Tina Childress has a website that's all about assistive listening technology. It's called See Hear Communication Matters, filled with information for you about all kinds of devices, reviews different ones. So you could be deciding between A or B, and you could go look at Tina's website and she would have all of the different criteria about how they work, what they work best with, and so forth. I'm going to do a simple refresh of part 1. And the number 1 objective was to get everybody connected to their app on their hearing instrument, because I believe that that's the best way, the best opportunity you have to hear the best. That many people didn't know that their hearing aids have programs. Even before we had remotes in our cell phones, hearing aids had programs. And at that time, most hearing instruments had 2 buttons. One was for volume and one was for programs. But when the remotes for the hearing instruments moved to your cell phone, they decided to use 1 button. Well, as I told you, I'm pretty swift with all of this, right? I find it really difficult to figure out with a 1 button whether I'm changing volume or program, because what they do is you have to hold it longer. Well, if I'm a little upset because I can't hear something quite as well as I would like, maybe I think, oh, maybe a little louder. And I press it, but I hold it too long and then it changes the program. Then I'm flummoxed, right? But if you use your cell phone, it's in English. You can see everything. Much simpler. And everybody needs a telecoil. And we have cards up here about I need help with telecoil. If you have hearing aids, have them for a long time, we have found that many hearing healthcare professionals, people's hearing instruments have telecoils. They never told them about them. They never activated them. So the reason it's important, I'm going to talk about in a moment. And you may be asking, what is a telecoil? So this is the card, similar to the card that we have down here that everybody is welcome to take. And we've given them out at many meetings. So at this point in time, I don't know who has one and who needs one, who doesn't. So a telecoil is this, see that tiny little, it's just a coil inside the hearing instrument. And that creates a magnetic connection anytime you're in a hearing loop. And so you don't need to get a receiver and any kind of a connector. You just walk in go to the right program if it's a hearing loop, and you're good to go. So it allows for easy connection to assistive listening system. It creates a hearing aid compatible connection, and it uses the programming for your hearing instrument for what you hear. So I've had lots of people say, oh, I went to the leisure center and they have this system there and they gave me headphones and I took out my hearing aids. You're not supposed to take your hearing aids out because then you lost all of the amplification in the frequency that you need. If you happen to have been in a leisure center and you have a telecoil, you would just ask for the receiver and a headphone. And in our next slide, I outline that a little more. This is an example of how you would make an adjustment in your app between telecoil and balance, which is the outside microphone. So this happens to be my app. The apps are pretty similar. You must have some kind of a feature that is like this. And so above where that white box is, behind the white box, I have an option that allows me to pull up this setting for the balance and the T-coil. And when that's pulled up, see the round dot in the middle? I can slide it to the right and it's more T-coil. I can slide it to the left and it's more surround. I can leave it in the middle and it's balanced. Now, the reason you may wish to change this, the more T-coil you have, the less you can hear outside noise. So in 2016, I think, we advocated for hearing loops on BART, and I'm very happy to say we were very successful. Every BART station in Northern California has a hearing loop at the information counter, and all 765 of the new BART trains all have hearing loops. So when we went to pilot that program, that was before we had the ability to be able to adjust the telecoil and mic program. So it turns out I had 3 telecoil programs. I had one that was telecoil mic, I had one that was all telecoil, and I had one set up specifically for the telephone. At that time, it was very common for audiologists to frequently only set up a telecoil and mic program. And it was felt that if a person were at an event where they were using a hearing loop, that they might want to be able to hear the person sitting next to them. So see, if they have a conversation, right? So the microphone would be set on for them. But what happened when we were at BART was everybody who had telecoil and mic only, the background noise at BART was so loud that it didn't make any difference that they had a telecoil. So since I had all 3 programs, I could check which one worked. And anytime you are in a noisy environment, you absolutely want to adjust your telecoil setting so that it's almost only telecoil or all telecoil. Does that make sense? Yeah, good. Okay. And so see here this arrow at the bottom. So the arrow is to indicate that you can adjust that round ball there that's on balance now to go either direction. Now I'm going to talk about using assistive listening systems. So there are 3 types of assistive listening systems. And I want all of you in this room to know that I didn't learn everything I'm telling you about overnight. And you won't either. So please don't feel bad about yourself. Don't feel bad if you don't get it this time, the next time, the 10th time. Just keep moving forward, keep asking, keep trying. So there are basically 3 types of assistive listening systems. The first one I'm going to talk about is a hearing loop. That's what we have in this room. And for those with a hearing loop, going into a hearing loop, you just switch to the telecoil program, adjust the microphone to telecoil ratio, which we just talked about. You're good to go. The other two common systems, FM and infrared, aren't like that. Every single person has to get a receiver. So you might say, oh, that's not such a big deal. But it's one more thing for you to do. And it's always not that easy to figure out where to get the receiver. You have to get a receiver. And for people who have telecoils in their hearing instrument, they need to use that with a neck loop, not headphones. And an infrared system is the same. Okay, so when you go to take out the receiver and the neck loop, usually they ask for your driver's license. So you have all these additional pieces that are tacked on to your event. Also, you have the opportunity of very easily forgetting to pick up your driver's license. You're also reliant on the venue to make sure that the batteries in both the FM and infrared receivers are fully charged. I cannot tell you how many times I have used an FM system, talked to them 5-10 times before, even when I'm checking it out. Are you sure these are fresh batteries? Has somebody checked them? And in the middle of when the protagonist is saying exactly what I wanted to hear, right, the battery dies. Okay, so that's why FM and IR systems aren't as favored. One of the reasons as favored is hearing loops. So if you want to use an assistive listening system and you don't have a telecoil, everybody has to get a receiver and then you use headphones. Well, I don't know about all of you in this room, but I have not had good success with headphones that are usually distributed at public venues. Now, there's one caveat that I'll say. I happened to put this image of the headphones there because I liked the image. I thought it communicated what a headphone was very well. It's blue, I like color, but it has, see the big muffs? So they make headphones that have very big muffs, but they're not inexpensive. And if you use a headphone that's like that, the muff frequently is big enough it fits over your whole ear space. And so they might work. But other than that, it's sliding all over the place, and your microphones for your hearing instruments are on top of your ear, and headphones were decided for the sound to go into your ear. So it's not a great situation. I'm reviewing again that hearing instruments have programs. Almost all of them today have the first program as an automatic program, and the subsequent programs are the things that can really help your life. The single biggest one, other than connecting to a telecoil, and actually I see that I didn't put that on my list, that's a mistake on my part, is a restaurant or a speech and noise program. So until maybe 18 months ago, 24 months ago, there was no hearing instrument that did a very good job, no matter what the manufacturer said about speech and noise in restaurants, whenever there's a lot of background noise. The programs that existed are helpful, but most of us still complain. But being able to go ahead and put it in that program can be marvelous. I think it was our Christmas program, I think. We were here and talking about programs, and I showed somebody who was here. I said, oh, why don't you put it in the restaurant speech? Well, they were just astounded because at that time we had a social meeting. So there were a lot of people talking, right? So we had background noise. So we have the premium hearing aids for most of the major manufacturers now have AI in them. And AI is going to be the godsend for those of us with hearing loss because it's doing a much, much, much better job at filtering out that background noise than we've ever had before. Some people have a car program. You have to wait till the end, please. Some people have a car program. You can have programs to connect to devices. And you can also have for some people, they like more noise. They can have a 360 in quiet. And what that does, excuse me, not noise, sound. What that does is most of our hearing instruments are set so that it's forward facing microphone, which means that we have a harder time understanding things that aren't to the front. Well, if it's in a quiet situation, maybe you want that. So this 360 quiet program would give you more sound around you. So now we're going to open this up to what did you learn in part 1? So this gives us feedback about who attended and how it benefited them. And so we'd like to remind everybody with a hearing loop, everybody has to talk into the microphone. And an easy way to think about it is it's like eating an ice cream cone. You know, it's like it's right below your lips. And it was just like you would be licking the ice cream. That's where you hold the microphone. So who wants to share first about what they learned in part 1 and if they found it valuable? Thank you. Jim will bring you the microphone in a second.
From part 1, I learned that there were accessories available. My audiologist had not even tried or attempted to try to sell it to me. So right after that, right after your meeting, I did purchase the Starkey accessory for the small mic. And so I'm testing it still. And my question to you is that if my partner's wearing the small mic, I'm across the table and then 2 other people on both sides, will that pick up the noise of the others talking at the same time?
So is the microphone from Starkey that you're talking about? Because Starkey has more than one microphone.
I have the one.
Okay, so Starkey has a microphone, I believe, that looks like the second one to the left, something similar to that,
Yes.
about that size.
Yes.
And then they have another one that's round.
Oh,
And the one that's round is the one that's in this picture.
oh,
Okay, now the one that's in this picture has more than one microphone in that device.
oh.
And the idea is this happens to be called a table microphone. The idea is that it will switch from whenever who's talking. I've had people find them to be more or less successful. Usually when you have this kind of microphone, there's also an additional app to be able to fine tune that microphone to be able to work. So you may want to try that as well.
Oh, last question. I was listening to a docent yesterday and I was all in the very back of the room. Now I couldn't hear well. And so this little mic, I'd have to give to the speaker to wear to register into my ear, correct?
Okay, so where were you that you were at a docent tour?
In a non-loop room.
No, that's not what I'm asking you.
Where?
Where?
City?
Where in the city?
Where in the city? I was in Monterey Museum.
Okay. The museum is required to have communication access for all people with hearing loss. Did you ask for it?
I didn't realize that.
The ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act, requires that we are able to understand as well as anybody else.
Oh.
So they're required to have technology for you to be able to do that. Now, how do you know they didn't have a hearing loop?
How did I not, what?
How did you know they didn't have a hearing loop?
Because there were no signs like, oh, I tried every gizmo on my program.
Okay, so was the docent actually walking through the museum?
No, in a position like you.
Okay, so was she using a public address system? Was the sound amplified?
No, no. And also English was a second language. So it made it even more difficult to decipher clear speech.
Okay, so now you have an opportunity to go back to them and say, I was there and I couldn't understand. Did you have something I could have used? Or if you didn't, why not? And let's make sure you get it.
Okay.
And you could talk to me and I could help you figure out what might work in their situation. I think there could be a good chance if somebody's at a podium, usually there are microphones, so that they could have had an FM system. And if they had an FM system, you would have just checked out the receiver, put a neck loop around your neck, plug the neck loop into the receiver and put your hearing instrument in telecoil. And as long as the batteries worked, it would have streamed to your ears.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So does everybody here understand public venues are required to have communication access for us? But you have to ask for it. Okay, so who else? And thank you. That's a great thing to learn, right? So did you think it was worthwhile coming last time? You're here this time, so I guess the answer is yes. So did anybody else learn something that they'd like to share?
I'm going to talk about cost. I did a lot of searching. I went to several places that talk about what they can provide, and they give you free hearing tests. Oh, except for the one that wanted to charge $250 for the hearing test. And so she said, okay, the hearing aids I recommend are this, and it's $6,800, and it comes with a 3-year follow-up. Anything you need, well, after 3 years, you pay. Well, I won't say that ticked me off, but it did. I am now going to go back to Kaiser, which I have always had hearing tests from, but I've never had a hearing aid from, because when I first started, they said, oh, go to Costco, you wait forever for us. Costco's hearing aids have changed and they don't fit me anymore. So I've heard they have a new one. It costs a little more, but it's certainly much less than the others. And I'm going to try that. But it is difficult. It's hard to be a penny pitcher like myself. Or as I say, I'm a bag lady. and get what you want and do the research. And more difficulty if you're technologically challenged. So there's I'm going to have to get a provider, which for some people, depending on their insurance, is difficult.
Yeah. So a piece about Costco. Costco hearing aids from some of the people who are chapter members have worked very well. Depends on the level of your hearing loss, and it depends on how knowledgeable you are and how much you go back to them. My friend Carolyn Odio that I talked about earlier, she had gotten a hearing aid from Costco that didn't have a telecoil. Well, she went back 2 years later and raised a stink. And, Costco advertises that customer satisfaction, and they gave her a new hearing aid with the telecoil. So I'm sharing that story only so that you don't become intimidated. Also, many of the new hearing aids have domes that they use to fit, and they don't work for some people. The gold standard is a custom ear mold that works with the receiver in the ear canal. If you don't know that custom ear molds exist, you wouldn't think to ask for them. Yeah, they cost a little bit of money, but it's not, it doesn't break the bank. Costco does not sell power or superpower hearing aids. So if your hearing loss goes past a certain level, they don't sell products that will work for you. And I think the theory behind this is they want to serve the largest number of people, so they only have those hearing aids. And so unfortunately, or fortunately, if you move to the place where your hearing loss was too severe, then you'd have to go to the gold standard and go to an audiologist, although there are some audiologists at Costco. And yes, hearing instruments are expensive. And unfortunately, we used to have really good senior advantage plans in our county, and they all had hearing coverage. We have they all left for 2026. Contra Costa County has no more senior advantage plans other than Kaiser. So you have our empathy. All of us are in the same position. So who else had something that they learned last? Go on, Ann.
Hi, I'm Anna. I attended the December meeting and learned that I was really at risk at night because I can't hear anything once I go to bed. And I was able to get the sonic alert for free through the state of California. So now I have a bed shaker that'll wake me up and the clock thingy. But now today I'm learning that there's the carbon monoxide. I ordered one, but now I'm not thinking that it's going to connect to my sonic alert because I didn't get it from.
Yeah, you go to the Sonic Alert webpage and they will show you all the accessories that they have. You don't have to order it from them. And their device is one that listens for sound. So it can hear the smoke detector or it can hear the carbon monoxide detector when they go, but when I vacuum in my bedroom, it also hears my vacuum cleaner. So it goes alert, alert, right?
Yeah.
But it works profoundly. You can see when I'm vacuuming, I can see the lights flashing, says,
Well, I feel a little safer now at night.
somebody else. Here we go. And everybody, please feel this meeting isn't about me, and I don't like to be a talking head. So it's about all of you sharing your stories so that we all learn from each other.
Okay. So you think that that mold that they put in your ear will help with hearing?
So let me see if I can explain this, and it may suit your situation, it may not. So with those domes, there's also frequently a little tail, and the little tail is supposed to fit in this part of that, that bowl of your ear. Well, some people have a hard time getting it to stay in there. Sometimes they just don't work very well. And so what happens is the dome moves away from being deep seated in your ear. And when it moves away, your ability to benefit from the hearing aid decreases. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And
yes.
the purpose of the custom ear mold is that it fits your particular ear. And I haven't had that in a while. So Eric, if I say the wrong thing, please tell me. So usually it's kind of weird when they take a mold of your ear and they squirt this gunk in there and it kind of feels weird, right? But it's not painful. So just preparing you for what that could be like.
Another question about, is it tinnitus? I never had that before. Now, suddenly I have that. Now, when my hearing aid is in, it helps that, it masks that. But does that come with hearing loss?
Frequently, yes. And the theory is that your brain is trying to do something for the sounds it's not hearing. And it creates these weird sounds.
weird,
Yeah.
right?
Now, some people find that they have benefit from eating less salt.
Eating less salt.
Salt. Some people diet has a little bit of, some people, there's some medications that contribute to it. You have to experiment. There is a brand new treatment for tinnitus that is supposed to be very successful. I heard a presentation about it last year. The name is called Linears, and it's a treatment you put something in your mouth, you work with your mouth. We've been trying to get somebody in our county to give a presentation. I haven't found anybody yet who has it as part of their practice. So as soon as they do, we'll have a presentation about that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And one other thing that you mentioned. So the last time when I got an ear mold, it was around $100. Are they still around $100, Eric? Yeah, around $100. So doesn't break the bank.
Will you please review the availability and effectiveness of some alert for the doorbells, and what other kinds of situations would we benefit by? I mean, doorbells, and I have an iPhone and it vibrates and I feel it sometimes and sometimes I don't. So what I'm interested in is knowing how I can make sure that I hear or am aware that somebody's at my door. That's
So there are a wide variety of devices. Some of them plug into a light switch and it can hear the sound. There's a little device, they have them on Amazon, and I had worked with Wheels on Meals, and they had a problem because if they ring the doorbell and nobody answers, then they have to call a family member. It's a whole huge thing. So I was hoping they would get these other ones, but they actually went on Amazon and got these ones that worked with the light switch, and the feedback I've gotten from them is that they were very successful. So there are tons of different options available to you. A good source to take a look at is a company called Diglo, D-I-G-L-O. Oh, I think they call it Diglo, excuse me, but it's still spelled the same. And Amazon sells stuff too, so you just need to look around. And you might decide, if you think you want to buy something and it's a little pricey for you, you might ask me, do we have any in our demo library? You could borrow one. Yes, please.
You were talking about a detector where you have 3 minutes to get out. Detector of gas, is that what it is?
That's from
My inclination would be to try, you said get out in 3 minutes, but my inclination would be to.
Can you hold the microphone?
Okay, my inclination would be it's malfunctioning and I'd be trying to turn it off. So how do you manage that inclination? Do you go outside and make a phone call and find out? What do you
If
do?
your fire or carbon monoxide detector goes off, you need to leave your house.
Yeah, but when you get outside the house, what's the next step? That's all I'm saying. Call
Well-
up PG&E, call security. What do you do
Well,
next?
Oh, maybe you would take your cell phone. What, before you had hearing loss, if your house was on fire and you ran outside your house, what would you do?
I'm not talking about fire. I'm talking about with the gas. You said you have 3 minutes to get outside the house. When you get outside the house, what's the next step? You call up somebody?
That's what I would do.
Who would you call up?
I probably would go to my neighbor and knock on the door. If I had my cell phone, I'd call 911.
911. Okay. I wouldn't call my neighbor. They may not have a problem.
I mean, that's what 911 is for.
Securitas. Yeah. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
The detector is to tell you have a fire. That's what's sealed.
Okay.
Another thing I learned from the first part was that there's availability on the Apple phone to have closed caption of a conversation. I didn't know that at all. So it's very, very helpful when I'm talking to the doctor's office and when those MAs, they talk very, very fast. So I could read what they're saying. But could you elaborate on a better program that you like, which is called Ava?
Yeah. The first thing I'd like to say is you need to start asking for communication access. They're required, your doctor's required to provide it for you. Now, in our county, the doctors are really poor at doing this and resistant. So we just need to keep doing it. And even if sometimes you can understand them, sometimes you wouldn't want to be bothered. Something happens, you use your mini mic, you use your speech to text app. But the reason it's so important, what happens when the time happens that you can't do that? Then they don't have any of that stuff in place that we absolutely need. Can you imagine being an emergency and being deaf and not being able to understand anything anybody is saying to you? You know how hard it is to get a mammogram when you can't understand when they're telling you to hold your breath and when you can breathe? I mean, you want that to be as clear as possible. You want the best outcome you could possibly have. Got it? Yeah. So Ava is the most robust of all of the speech to text apps because it allows more than one person to be connected to the conversation at the same time. So theoretically, you could be out to dinner. Everybody had Ava on their phone and connected together. And when it's connected together, each of your profiles is at the top of the screen. And like other situations, the closer you are to the microphone on your phone in that situation, the more accurate the speech to text apps are. So Zohair brought a device that I have another friend in Washington State who loves technology too. Her name is Heidi Crabtree. And when we were at the convention last year, she had these devices. It was just amazing. They are, oh, wait a minute. So here, how does this open? Does it flip? So anyway, there are 4 microphones. So everybody, if you had 4 people could be there. And it has an adapter that you put into the bottom of your phone. And so what the microphone is doing is it's making the microphone close to the person. This is the piece that, here, can I have the one piece so I can show people on Zoom too. This is the piece that fits into the bottom of your microphone. Your cell phone. And they sell them by what kind of a plug that you have. So this one happens to be a USB-C. If you happen to have an older phone that was still lightning, they sell that as well. And so this is the receiver or the signal from the microphone. And this receiver will take 4 channels. There are 4 microphones. You can't expand it to 6, but it's better than anything we've ever had before. And so here, 130? Yeah. Something like that. It's a really fun thing. And it's speech to text predominantly. Some hearing instruments can take audio, but not Phonak or Advanced Bionics. So some hearing aids, you can go into the app and you can set your smartphone to use the microphone on your smartphone. Well, if it had that capability, if you plug this in and you had these, you could have 4 microphones coming right to either speech to text or audio in that situation. Okay? Jim?
What is the brand name on that product?
Yeah, it's called Boya, Boya, and it's available on Amazon. So Zohair bought it and another one of our members bought it, but she didn't understand that there was a possibility that her hearing aids didn't have the capability of using the cell phone microphone for amplification of audio. And so she returned hers. Okay, we have another one, Jim, right here.
better
No.
turn the mics off. 'Cause it's interfering.
Yeah, it's okay. Jim, no, it's right there. This gentleman here.
With the other devices, it seems like my hearing aid batteries, essentially, they don't last very long. Do you have any ideas of how to extend the life of the battery when you're using these other devices?
Yeah. So are you saying that it doesn't last you a day?
Yes.
So obviously, every time we use more things, we have more drain on the batteries. Be conscious of making sure that you turn them off. We're in a situation where better Bluetooth is coming. So it's been invented, but there's going to be a transition period here. Everybody's going to have to, more than likely, every time you say everybody, you put yourself into a corner. More than likely, everybody's going to have to get new devices, new instruments, probably a new cell phone. So at this point in time, Android cell phones are Bluetooth 5.4 enabled. And this new expanded form of Bluetooth is called Auracast, and it's low energy. And so it's going to, it actually will change the world, but it's not here yet. So we're going to be able, if we live long enough, right? That's what I keep saying. You're going to be able to go to the airport someday and either scan a QR code, or we're not sure exactly how all the hearing, maybe it's going to scan and you'll be able to hear the announcements at the gate. Can you imagine that? So this is going to benefit not only us, but everybody, because nobody can understand those announcements. Yeah, Jim.
Yeah, I had a comment about battery life, and that is most hearing aids now are AirSync batteries. And a lot of folks don't know that when you peel off the little cover, there's a very tiny hole that you may or may not see. And what that does is it allows air into the battery and it activates it. And if you let your battery sit for how long?
5 minutes, I think.
5 minutes or so, it allows that reaction to take place, and your battery life is much better. And so if you just take it off and stick it in, you're shooting yourself in the foot in terms of your battery life. So I don't know if that has any effect of what you're
Yeah.
talking about.
Jim, do you have rechargeable hearing aids or with batteries? Oh, then that was really good for you. Perfect. Yeah. And something else you might want to try is that when I wore hearing aids with batteries, I found different batteries lasted longer or shorter than other ones by brand. Okay.
I wanted to say that I noticed that the batteries, the container that they come in now is extremely hard to open. And I wondered if there's any way that you know of that it can be made easier.
Yeah. So everybody is complaining about this. HLAA is actively working to see if there's somehow we can get that changed. How this happened was people were concerned that children could access the other batteries and they would swallow the battery. So what they did was they made it so hard for anybody to open it. I have to use my poultry shears to open, or tin snips to open those battery packs. It's awful. Yeah, everybody knows, HLAA knows. Something that we could think about doing is starting a petition, an online petition, like we did to get captions for Zoom. Sherry Eberts did that, started that, and that was really powerful. So anybody else?
Yeah, I didn't believe that when you pulled the sticker off the battery, it made a difference. So I actually put a voltmeter on it. And as soon as I pulled the sticker off, put the voltmeter on, I actually watched the voltage rise in the battery. over the 3-minute period. So it is, it's definitely.
Thank you very much for validating that with your personal experience. You can change your mind. It's okay.
Okay.
You're it, Jim. Do you have something to say?
Yeah, I had one other comment about buying these devices online. And I've bought some things off of eBay, and my perception is a lot of people have these devices or their mom or dad had them and they died and they've got all this stuff and they try to figure out what to do with it. So there is a lot of these devices on eBay. They're used, but they're lightly used. They just, for whatever reason, the people didn't need them anymore or never used them. Sometimes they're fresh out of the box, but you're not buying them from a supplier. You're buying them from a former user. And so I encourage you to look for these things that once you figure out what you want, to go shop for them because they're available.
Thanks, Jim. Anything else? Okay, so we definitely want everybody to know that we're having the Walk for Hearing, the Bay Area Walk for Hearing on May 30th, 2026 in Alameda. And I'm telling you, it's really a fabulous event. And we'll be sending out notices. We're raising money for our chapter and HLAA through the walk. And please donate if you value this and if you want to become more visible so that hearing loss is higher up on the agenda of everybody's awareness. Come join us. And not only that, the location of the walk is absolutely sublime. It is on the water in Alameda. It is the best view of almost anywhere I know of for San Francisco. So you could come in the morning, bring a picnic lunch, have a lunch and go home, and you were on the bay. The HLA convention this year is decreased from 3 days to 2 days. People thought 3 days was too long. That's a big change. And it's going to be in Louisville, Kentucky. And I'm very proud to let all of you know that I received an HLAA award this year. I just got notification the other day for excellence in outreach or advocacy, something like that. Little things mean a lot, right? Like to remind everybody, this is the slide for you. Hearing loss is a disability covered under the Americans with Disability Rights. Disabilities Act. You need to ask for communication access. This year, the ADA will be 36 years old. It's not new. And these two symbols you'll see here, the one on the left is the international symbol for hearing access. You'll note it doesn't have a T. And that's what's required under the ADA, any place that has assistive listening systems. Internationally, everyone has put a T on that symbol if there's a hearing loop. You'll only see that if there's a hearing loop in the room. And we have not had any pushback from the Department of Justice about that. So it's pretty accepted that the international symbol for hearing access with the T is with the hearing loop. And in this room, the signage is in a really weird place. It's on the back side of that wall over there. And so that's why I always hang the signs on the front of the podium to make sure that everybody knows about that. We meet the first Saturday of the month, 10 a.m. Our next meeting is March 4th. And I'm hoping we'll have canine companions. We haven't had them. And in addition to vision dogs, which all of us know about, there are hearing dogs too. And so it's really fun when they come. And we hope to see you next time. If anybody has anything that they would like to share at the last minute before we close for the day, and I see a hand go up in the back, or are there any questions on Zoom?
When going to
No.
the airport, and you've told them you're hearing disabled, they always come with a wheelchair because there's already in their system that you're disabled. But when you go, they don't have anything in the airplanes to help you. So when you ask that, you get a board first, which is nice. But what other advantages are there? Because you can't hear them when they speak over the intercom.
Yeah, so that is an issue. Now, the piece that I will just say about this is that, and I've repeated this a lot of times, so I don't know where everybody is. TSA has TSA Cares, and when you make your airplane reservation, you call TSA and they will set up a time and they will walk you through security. They also have cards that are available on there, and we've distributed them at different times. It says TSA Cares, and on the back you say, I have hearing loss. So when I go through, I show the TSA agent, I said, I have a hard time understanding you, and I show my card. Now, sometimes they say, I don't know what that is. And I said, oh, it's a TSA card. See, it says it right on here. So then the onus is on them. And usually they get flustered and say, oh, okay, you can do what you want. But I have had, before I started carrying that card, I had problems at TSA before where they wanted to go through my bag or whatever. I couldn't understand them. I mean, I didn't know. So when you make your airplane reservation, all airlines have a place where you can indicate that you are a person of special needs. You need to select that. The option there is not hard of hearing or deaf, it's deaf. So just bite the bullet and click deaf. And then what happens is that's going to be connected to your ticket. Then when you get to the airport, you need to go up to the information counter and to the gate agent and tell them that you're hard of hearing and you can't hear the announcements, and so you would like to pre-board. If that agent says to you, they pull up your reservation, right? And after coming home from the convention one year, this is what happened. There were 4 people in front of me, all hearing loss, my friends, and the agent saying, do you need help? And they said, no. He says, well, do you need help? They said, no. He said, oh, we just need to pre-board. And he goes, well, do you need help? So they were not connecting to the fact that hearing loss was something that you needed help with. They thought they was asking if you had mobility problems. So I'm making it very clear to all of you. If anybody at the airport ever asks you if you need help because of your hearing loss, don't say no. So I came after them. It was on my ticket. I said, I can't hear the announcements. He looked at my ticket, said deaf, said, great, just pre-board. Okay, so then I said to him, it turns out that I happen to know the 4 people who are in front of me here, and we were all at a hearing loss convention. And when you asked them, do they need help? They didn't really quite understand what you were saying. They all need help. And they were all, we're all milling around the gate. And I went and got my 4 friends and went up there. And I said, these are the 4 people. And yes, they all have hearing loss. And they didn't really, he said, okay, but you said you didn't need any help. He was covering his ass, right? So please, if anybody asks you if you need help with your hearing loss, yes.
Well, I did that in Dubai. And in Dubai, they said, oh, everything's on digital. You'll sit on digital. I'm saying, I don't think so. So of course not. When the flight attendant stands up top, it says something, she's not on digital. It's not on digital. So it's very frustrating when you're on the airplane.
So when I get on the airplane, I tell the flight attendant as I'm boarding the plane that I have profound hearing loss and that I will not be able to understand any announcements. And if there's something emergency related, they need to come tell me. I've had flight attendants come to my seat to make sure that I understood the oxygen mask and all of those things. And actually, when I sit down on my seat, the first thing I read is the card that's in the seat pocket in front of me. And I've never had a situation that was an emergency other than that. We're hoping that the audio systems in the airplanes the announcements will go through the audio systems. And if they went through the audio systems, there's a potential that we might be able to understand that. But something that I would be curious about for you is, have you ever tried to put on your speech to text app on your phone when they're making announcements to see if you could hear it? Try it. It might it might work well enough. I know sometimes on the airplane, depending on where I'm sitting to where the loudspeaker is. Sometimes if I'm sitting under a loudspeaker, I understand everything. And if it's further away, then it's muffled. Thank you for bringing that up. And Jim, you want to talk about the lanyards?
I have a comment. Two of you commented about the issue with the hard to open battery packs. We went to Costco and bought a whole big batch of, well, number 13 batteries, the Kirkland brand. And I'm like you, I'm dexterous, I'm mechanical, I'm handy. And those darn things were nearly impossible to open. I took them back, and Costco actually contacted us and said, what was wrong with our product? And I had the opportunity to lay into them about that, something that they wouldn't necessarily understand. But anyway, what I wanted to get to real quickly, on Amazon, Duracell makes and sells number 13 batteries that come in a nifty little plastic case that anybody can open. The little tab that you have to peel back is 2 or 3 times as long as the other brand. They work just great. Way, way easier to deal with. I kind of wish I had one of the packages with me today. I could show everybody, but they're easy as pie to deal with. Of course, having said that, they'll probably be taken off the market. But here we go.
Do you know if the brand was Power One? Was the brand Power One? Oh, he said he found them Duracell. So I'm just going to make a comment. I found that when I was using batteries, when I used Kirkland batteries, they didn't last as long as a Rayovac. So you might want to experiment to see between times when you might buy different batteries and see between times which ones last the longest for you. Okay, so the bewitching out is here, except Jim is going to make one announcement, and this is about the sunflower lanyard system. And my understanding is San Francisco has it now. San Jose has had it for a long time. We just need to get Oakland on board.
Okay, what this is they're called hidden disabilities. And basically it's a company that you can register with. And it's all different kinds of disabilities, not just hearing loss. So you pick the ones you have, and then on the back, they have little icons that indicate what they are. So these costs, I think it's $18. They charge you, and you send them a picture, and they put your picture on the back, and it looks very official. And like she said, those 2 airports recognize these.
Well, they distribute not the ones that are personalized like yours that have the picture, but they distribute the Sunflower program, invisible disability cards.
Yeah. And they give you this little lanyard too.
So this is a movement that started in the UK, and there are lots of disabilities that are invisible. You can't see them. And so they wanted to develop some way to make it easier for people working in public places and things to be able to figure out who might need some help. And this was what they came up with. And so it's a global movement. And so I'm really happy that San Francisco is finally added now. Okay, everybody. So we'll see you next month. And thank you very much for coming. And I hope that you learned something more than you knew before you came.